Clash Royale is dropping brand new balance changes for the upcoming March season. Today we're going to go over each and every one of them, starting off with the arrows. Now the arrows are an interesting card that a lot of people have been screaming for balance changes, and you know, most of them have been biased. Oh, I use Goblin Barrel and Archers and Dark Goblin and Rascals. Why do you want me? Want an arrows nerf? What are you, stupid? Arrows are not, however, receiving a nerf to their direct damage or radius, which is what a lot of people were saying. They are getting a 58% crown tower damage nerf, which is going to take it from 93 to 39. Now, I don't really know what the point behind that nerf is. It feels like a lot of people think the radius is too big on the arrows, but again, right now is one of the craziest like arrow bait metas in a while, because there's been a lot of Dark Goblin, Evo, all that other stuff out there that is making bait really good. So nerfing the arrows would be hard to do in a bait meta, but they're gonna try and do it with the crown tower damage nerf. Here's what's also interesting: the log is also receiving a nerf, and this is interesting because it's not, again, something that you'd think was actually going to make a difference. It is the exact same nerf, a crown tower damage nerf, going from 58 to 29, which is 50%, a little bit less than the arrows, but 50% crown tower damage nerf for the log. And I guess the thought process here is these spells aren't really used for tower damage, so we want to limit how much tower damage they get unnaturally, which is interesting. I don't think this makes too big of an impact on the reason why people wanted these cards nerfed. They wanted arrows nerfed because their radius is too big and crown tower. I guess, you know what? I guess I could see myself liking these. I think they're a bit dramatic. Maybe start with something like, you know what? I like dramatic. This is good. Cannon is getting a damage nerf. It's going to be very useless. It's 6%. Well, maybe it's not that useless, but 6%. Whenever I see 6% damage nerf, 6% HP nerf, I get flashbacks to the Goblinstein when it was at its peak and they gave the Goblinstein monster a 6% health nerf. And they expected that to be enough for us. So, I mean, Cannon, 6% damage. I don't think you want to kill Cannon, but I also don't know if 6% of a, like, you know, that's 13 damage at 20 standard is enough to make people stop using the cannon and start using other extremely weak buildings. So the Rage, Lumberjack, and Evo Lumberjack are all getting adjustments to a Rage, which is a direct Rage nerf. So Rage, currently, as it stands, when you're raged, you obviously are raged inside the spell, but once you leave the spell, you remain raged for around 2 seconds. It's exactly 2 seconds, and they're cutting that in half. So now after you leave a rage spell, you will only be raged for 1 second, not 2 seconds, which is an interesting take on nerfing the Rage. I'm not sure that this is more than a luxury nerf. Ever since Rage got its damage added, it's been like really oppressive. But maybe this will be a little bit more helpful and make it less overpowered, but also not dead, because the goal is not to kill cards that get the nerf, unless they're Goblinstein or the Broken Evo. Then we should definitely kill them. Now moving on to the buffs. We've got the Electro Wizard, which is getting a buff that they've been hinting at buffing for a little while. I don't think it needs a buff at all, and I don't think this buff does literally anything. The Electro Wizard is going from a 110 damage like bolt of lightning to 116, so he's gonna do 5% more damage. Hey man, to you E-Wizard users out there, if you want to use this as a win, go ahead. I don't really know off the top of my head what interactions going from 110 to 116 changes. Maybe it's like two-shotting minions or something. If anybody is an E-Wizard geek and knows exactly what interaction changes with 5% HP, please do let me know, because off the top of my head, I just don't know what that changes. Obviously, it has to change something good, or else they wouldn't add such an insignificant buff. Evo Snowball is getting another buff, 2 balance changes in a row, because it's really underperforming. I'm scared because I don't want the Evo Snowball to be good. It already destroys a ton of pushes, but I mean, it's getting a slowdown duration buff, so it's now going to slow what previously was 3 seconds to now going to 4 seconds at 33% change. I don't know how I feel about this. I mean, Giant Snowball's Evo is clearly not the best, but I don't know. I mean, we don't want to make it overpowered, but I don't know what you would have to do to make this viable. If this buff doesn't end up working, I don't know what they're going to do with the Evo Snowball. Maybe it's time to look at indirect buffs to Snowball by nerfing Zap or nerfing, well, I guess they did nerf arrows and logs, so we'll see how the Snowball performs this meta. Our favorite tower troop, the Royal Chef, has got a buff because apparently Was 4 nerfs overkill? Maybe it was, but it's getting a cooking time buff. It's going to go from 24 to 40 seconds max to 21 to 35 seconds. So it's ultimately going to be around 13% faster. I guess that's reasonable. I mean, they killed the damage outburst of the card. I think they nerfed the hit speed of it, and then, you know, nerfed the, what was it, health or something as well. But I mean, this is fine. 13% makes it, I guess, a little more viable, so they can kind of beat the allegations of release new card, make everybody buy it, nerf it to the ground. Also, they're gonna have to do a lot more than that to beat the allegations. So Princess is getting a rework. We're onto our reworks now. The Princess, which again the balance changer's been hinting at for a little while, is an attempt to make it so you can predict the Princess at the bridge easier, because that's the only like use of the Princess right now. It's gonna go from a 1-second deploy time to a 1.2-second deploy time. Now, in case you're not sure what deploy time is, it's when you deploy things. It's the time it takes to deploy. The only card with a second interval deploy time right now is the Stab Goblins. They also have a 1.2-second deploy time, so that's what the Princess will get. And in the what is the word I'm looking for? I don't know, but like to match that nerf it got to the deploy time, it's getting a first hit speed buff. So it's going to be 0.3 seconds first hit speed instead of 0.5 seconds, which is a 40% buff. This is going to make the Princess way more annoying, but I feel like if the deploy time is good enough, that'll make it so people, if you're expecting a Princess, can catch it every time. Look, a guy like me, he catches all the Princesses, especially, you know, when I see it coming. If I don't see it coming, probably not, but this is an attempt to make Princess the Bridge a little bit more effective, and maybe Princess in other scenarios a little bit better. And now we've got the Void, which is also getting a rework, which I mean, I think is a buff. It's not really a rework, but they're calling it a rework. It's a hit frequency between the strikes. So you know how the Void goes bzzzt, bzzzt, bzzzt. Now it's going to go faster. That was a W impression. 1.3 seconds is the current value. 1 second is what it's going to be. So there's not going to be a 1 second interval. 23% faster between each Void strike. I guess it gives opponents less time to predict, or not predict, but play something to protect their card. So it's a little bit easier. I still think the Void's going to be a useless garbage card, but, you know, Void is just not healthy for the game. I don't know what they could do to it. Let me know in the comments what you think they could do to the Void to make it better, but this is just, it's awful, and it's not going to get any better, and it shouldn't get any better. All these cards they're adding, Goblin Machine, Goblin Stein, Void, they should all be dead and in the ground. But I'm all for a suspicious buff. My God, suspicious bush buff. Okay, I just got braces. I'm sorry. But if you guys have any opinions on the balance changes, let me know in the comments. What do you think they missed? What do you think they maybe should add in the future? Because these are the work in progress, so there will be a finalized version. And do you like these current balance changes, or do you think some of them should be changed? Go ahead and let me know, and have a great rest of your day.